Hey, sorry about that. I had a hard time signing on. I had a hard time signing on. Just kept spinning. Took me 3 times and I had to restart my computer. So let's kick it. You know what I'm saying? Let's just kick it. You know what I'm saying? Let's just try and kick it. You know what I'm saying? Let's just kick it. Just kick it as good as we can. Oh, yeah, let's just kick it. Hey, Angie, how you doing? Oh, good for you. Oh, good. I tried signing on. I was a little late. Sorry about that. It kept spinning. It wouldn't let me on. Tried twice and then I restarted. So I think the other one was canceled because I couldn't sign on. I just started this one. So I don't know if people know what's going on or not. Weird. How you doing today? Is that weather still cool up there for you? Did you just happen to remember 9 o'clock and look, or did you get an alert? I know these alerts don't seem to work too good most of the time. We'll just kick it. Nice day here today. It's been getting colder at night than they said, though, I'll tell you that. There's nothing worse than starting a chat late. And I know sometimes if you do what I just did, Hey, Melanie, how you doing? Sorry I'm late. I couldn't sign on at 9 o'clock. 100 people, that's crazy. Oh, you didn't get a notification? Yeah, I don't doubt that. That's YouTube. I mean, I don't know what else to do. I don't monetize them. It's adults only, no kids. Amy's your mom. How you doing? It was a nice day here today. Got my car started. I'm doing pretty good. You know, this damn car I have, it's easy to leave the lights on. Believe it or not, it doesn't give you a warning or anything if you leave them on. And for some reason, and I don't know this, because they were automatic on the 150. I still have the 150 actually. Marty's using it. But I got to remember to do that. I don't know why. I caught myself turning them on a couple times. The daytime. I don't know why. Because I never touched the switch in the F-150. It's a pain in the ass. Oh, good for you. The 50s. That's nice. Oh yeah, we're gonna have the same conversation tonight. And actually, somebody had sent me an email, and basically it was a female, and she asked why it's hard for females and males to get on the same page sometimes, and that is a good question. It seems like it would be a no-brainer. I think everybody's on the same page when it's new and it first starts out. But I think I mean, I'm really into philosophy and stuff like that. It kind of negates religion and shitluck and all that kind of stuff. It's not how it seems, but what you place value in. And I think part of the reason why women and men may not be on the same page as they age is because they get smarter and the illusion dwindles. And what was important to them when they were young isn't important to them when they're older. And they just take a separate road. You know what I mean? It is two different worlds. It really is. Why do you think that? What do you think's the cause of that, Melanie? I think a lot of it is. I mean, just look at like 50 years ago. People were still in the closet. I think there still is about the same amount of gay people as there were 5,000 years ago. I don't think that's changed. It's whether or not you're out of the closet. Now it's trans and how you identify and all this kind of stuff. Just another complex issue to how it was viewed not all that long ago. Hey, Frisky, how you doing? We're trying to figure out why it's hard for men and women to stay on the same page regarding a relationship. I'll tell you one thing that comes to mind. That is, it's because they want different things. You know what I mean? A lot of times, everybody has the same canned answer when you're young. I still say I'm 100% proponent and it's hormone based. And once the thrill wears off, it's the old adage, until you've lived with some, you really never know what they're like. And I think that's true. And when you combine everything, knowledge, life experiences, a drop in hormones, you figure things out better because you're not being controlled by a chemical in your brain. I mean, face it, when you're young, you do all sorts of stupid shit. You are attracted to people. You think you only live once. It gets out of hand. Sometimes you get married doing that. Sometimes you don't. So this textbook protocol for what it is you'd like and what you end up with sometimes seem worlds apart. I mean, divorce rates are higher than marriage rates, and that's not counting the people that don't even get married. So I just think, with science, life experiences, I think the bottom line, I think anyway, is they're not on the same page because the worlds are so different. It's almost like a compromise. Women want children, they want stability. Guys want sex, but they're never satisfied with one person. I mean, why can't it stay long term? Hey, Stephanie, how you doing? I mean, you're going to run into these freaks here and there that are married 50 years. But I think some of these people are just, some people have a very low bar. You know what I mean? It's just they just think man meets girl, girl meets guy. They get married, have kids, and they just kind of muddle along in neutral without any higher lows. And those are the kind of people that you'll see referenced in long-term 50-year marriages. I always said I don't think marriage should be an endurance test. And what can happen to you sometimes too, it did kind of happen to me, and I think it's happened to other people, is you get an ultimatum. It's the women that kind of are pushing for the commitment more than men. At least it used to be that way. And, maybe I'm way out of the ballpark with thinking that still goes on. But, if you're a single guy, I don't know if it's still this way either, to tell you the truth. I think people look at you differently if you're divorced than if you'd never been married. But I think that's kind of changing, Person's real color sometimes. Yeah, I think that's true. Blinded for 3 years? No, I don't think you're blinded 3 years. I think when you start seeing a crack in the window, rather than taking it as a bomb going off, you just kind of hang in there, because we're kind of taught to see things through the tough times. And even if you talk to people that have had long-term relationships, they'll almost always tell you, we had our rough spots. Well, what was that? What was the rough spot? You got sick of each other, infidelity. And if you sat around, how many people are satisfied with everything they got that they settled for? And I think, too, you compromise and settle in all aspects of life, including relationships and marriage. If you think you're going to get every 10 out of 10, you're dreaming. So it's like, what do you put a lot of emphasis on? Interesting conversations, not romance. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's true. Well, that's true. I mean, but I think I bet you didn't want that when you were young, though, did you? And that's because hormones were running the show at the time. Hey, Steph, how you doing tonight? Married 26 years. Yeah, I know what you mean. In marriage, I mean, just because you were married doesn't mean you had like the worst or the best relationship. All that is really is a civil contract. There are benefits to being married, and it's a commitment. I mean, if you told any young girl, I don't know how it is now, but how it used to be, would you rather be married for 3 years or just date a bunch of guys and never be married? They would say no. I think everybody does shoot too low. I mean, you can't, and all the things that you think of are part of the reasons why you go your separate ways. Even people with money and fame have the same difficulties. Look at the people in the media, look at the people in the entertainment industry. It isn't like, when you're married, it's like, well, what do you think caused the problems? Well, we didn't have enough money. It was always stress. But, if you look at the odds of the people with money, their odds are even worse. So it's a really tough thing to figure out. I do believe this. I think that what you probably should do is just spend more time working on making things work rather than just thinking they're going to happen naturally. Tired. There you go. Yeah, Stephanie, it's true. You weren't tired when you were 20, though, were you? Raging hormones, good times. It sure was. You remember how when you were young, how that colored everything? It just took your mind and just molded it like a piece of silly putty. You just thought all sorts of crazy shit. I mean, Stephanie would have dated Jack the Ripper if he was a stripper at a women's strip joint. Anytime these Chippendales came in, he could have been a paroled serial killer, and if she found him attractive, she was willing to let that go. You're not tired? Well, you're not anymore, but you got to admit that, if you look at just, let's say, for an example, men and women getting together, if there was a graph and we plotted it about the entire population of sexually active people from the time they were young to the time they were old, that sex trails off. That's why they write so many books about it and why so many country musics are about it and why so many, you have these Tony Robbins and all these people trying to bullshit you into thinking that it's something that it's not. Because if they don't, you're going to seek happiness, and happiness means a change. I mean, if you change jobs, you change clothes, you change cars, you change pets, and all of a sudden you're not supposed to change relationships, I just think that anybody makes it long term, uh, a certain amount of luck goes into that too. And how about this? People that make it long term couldn't get anybody interested in them. I'm not down in the possibility of it working. I'm just recognizing the statistics of it not. Oh, you're not tired? Good for you, Miserman. Now, would you even consider dating, Miserman? Would you even consider dating? I mean, what's the things? No. Yeah, life experiences. That's true. Well, I think you know what you don't like. You know what I mean? But like I said, men are so much different than women. I mean, if men can be satisfied by going to massage parlors, strip clubs, horror houses, and whatever else, watching porn, why can't women? So right off the bat, there are just striking differences in what both of them want, and it's kind of like you're hedging bets. I mean, when do you see people that have been married 50 years flirting with each other? You don't. I mean, it's not impossible. I'm talking in general. Oh, you doubt it? Yeah, I mean, you can have, kids with people. Uh, you can just be friends. But, I would say this. I bet you would say this, Muserman. Would you say sex complicates things? And by just being friends, you eliminate the whole deal? Too, I talk to women sometimes, like through the course of just regular conversation. I tell them sometimes, for your age, you better go get checked out by your gynecologist because you should be having sex all the time and you're not, and you don't even seem interested in it. And, you're not even anywhere near the prime of your life. I mean, maybe hormonally something's wrong with you. Simple thing about relationship, yeah. Yeah, no, it's kind of true. Yeah, it's true. I think the arguing gets less when you're older. I was just talking to a guy today, actually, and he was telling me how he can remember when he was young with his first wife that they used to fight and then have makeup sex. And with He's actually on his third marriage now. It's all fighting. Not only do they not have any makeup sex, he doesn't want any. But you never can really assign blame to one particular facet. You always try and piece together information on why you think what happened, and it may be not valid. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it complicates it. Lost their prostate. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, no wonder you're not dating, boy. That's not good batting averages. Now, is the boyfriend after the husband? Yeah. Boy, that's bad luck. Yeah, you lose your prostate. But, they could have just as easily been diabetics. Get the old pump up penis. That still happens. There's Michelle. Okay. Talking about pumping up penises. How you doing, Michelle? How's it going? Yeah, as you're under, yeah. Yeah, space is needed, that's for sure. That's what I think. But when you're young, it's just so much different. That's why I still hang my hat on hormones. Oh, rekindled high school boyfriend. Now, is this current or after your husband, right? Current boyfriend? Oh, good for you. And he lost his prostate too? Now, it poses an interesting question, all right? So, I mean, if you're not really into sex that much, and all of a sudden you rekindle a relationship, and somewhere along the way you find out this guy can't get a hard on. Now, if you're not into sex and that was a problem with other guys you dated, that's all they wanted, and you're comfortable not having any, is it possible to have a rewarding, satisfying relationship with someone that can't give you a good drilling? I suppose it is. They talk about all the sex these people have in these old folks' homes. I don't know if that's just fodder for comedians or it's true. Rekindle high school. Good. Yeah, hormones, yeah. Oh, at that age, yeah. I do know that menopause seems to be a real home wrecker. Menopause can work both ways. You can just lose your desire to want to have it. It seems gross, dirty, uninteresting, bothersome. Or it can actually go the other way and you can just become a raging nympho. So, Angie, be careful what you wish for. You could still becoming a raging nympho. I mean, just take for an example like Meeser Mom. I mean, what could be worse for her to be with a guy that lost his prostate and her turn into a raging nymphomaniac? I mean, could that relationship survive? I mean, if there's nothing in it for him, I mean, how long does that last? These are all interesting things to consider. He lost his product in the end. Yeah, I bet it did. Sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the women on here would agree that there's a different mental framework that goes into having sex with women that there is with men. Would you agree with that? You think it's different? Two for two, yeah. Sorry about that. That's bad odds. Oh, did you really, Melanie? Wow, no kidding, huh? Yeah, you're not the first one that's told me that. Now, here's another thing too, Melanie. Now, even though you lost your interest in sex, do you still, presumably, you still don't have it? Did you did you ever talk to like a gynecologist about that, hormone treatments, that kind of thing? I mean, some people lose it and don't want it back on purpose. But here's the $50,000 question. Being that way, or when you were that way, even whether you are, whether you're not now, did you find men attractive in a non-sexual way when you lost your interest? Oh, your libido is still great, Beezer Mom, huh? See, it doesn't make sense then. You wouldn't. you wouldn't want to date unless you got a big old jumbo French tickler. I mean, Stephanie says the same thing, which I find is interesting. Now, I'm not joking around here. In that Stephanie, she says she's lost interest in sex. She doesn't want an old man, but she would still, have fun at a male strip club with like Chippendale looking guys, even though she wouldn't be like turned down watching them. And I find that interesting. Yeah, still desirable. Yeah, that's the question too. Here's the thing too. I mean, there's some men out there and there's some women out there as well. And just don't garner enough interest. They just, for whatever reason. Yeah, no. Oh my God. Sorry about that, Melanie. I guess I won't be coming to Cleveland anytime soon. How about this? Now I want some straight answers on here, God damn it. No bullshit tonight. I want you guys to tell the truth about this. Do you ever find yourself like talking to people or meeting people and you wonder about sex with them? I mean, it's a world away. It's never going to happen. But you just find yourself thinking about people in a sexual way and you don't even know them that well, whether it's the mailman or, I hate to use the UPS example because my neighbor got caught banging the UPS guy and her husband came home for lunch. They got in a fist fight. They ended up getting divorced and she married the UPS guy. Now, I heard a couple years ago that he turned into a wife beater. And that the husband, even though they had a baby that caught her banging the UPS guy, was willing to take the baby in and take her back. Oh, you don't get out that much. Oh, okay. Oh, do you really? Now, James, the way James, I mean, if people have been around the champ, they know that, you seem to, you've mentioned a couple times, I'm not telling a secret that, you seem that your wife's kind of lost interest in sex, but don't feel alone out there, don't feel alone. But here's the thing. I think people take it personally. And I think, sometimes you shouldn't. It's hard not to take things personally. I always said that. Somebody told me this today, actually, I was talking to. They said, don't take it personally. It's like, what are you talking about there? How do you not take stuff personally that hurts your feelings or, making you feel like inadequate or something like that? Oh, you have, but you try not to, huh? Now, why would you try not to? What's wrong with that? Yeah, I know what you mean about that. Yeah, but see, that's what I mean, Mizram. It's not my business, but it seems like if you didn't lose your libido and you were available, I mean, they're not just going to fall from the sky and land up in your bed at night, Fabio. You would never leave her or something like that? Oh, you love her? That's interesting. Well, she's got it made, huh? Yeah, but you're quite a bit younger than your wife, too. I mean, you can't be mad at your wife if her hormones have dwindled and yours are still raging. Oh, I remember that. Those were cool guys, weren't they? Yeah, I was coming back from an antique show in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Well, you get out in nature. I like that too. I like nature too. Hey, Coast, how you doing? Hey, Bill, how's it going? Yeah, I'm doing okay. Yeah. It's the same thing. Nothing wrong with being average because every day you're at your best, and there's an element of truth to that. Don't have high expectations. Yeah, that was a good one. I like that too. I had other people like kind of check up on them. When somebody, saw the trailer was gone. So, I mean, I don't want to read into it. I don't really know what happened. I mean, people thought that was acting. It's crazy. That guy called me. The younger guy called me one time, wanted to talk about something. And I called him back and I got a fax thing. He must have had a fax on a home phone, or he was calling from a fax line using the telephone option. And I never was able to get in touch with him, so I don't know what happened. Yeah, I thought that was fun. Things happen like that sometimes, you know? I mean, you can tell you're old when you don't want any sex and you're fine with it. I mean, there's no fixing that. I mean, when you think there's something wrong with you at an age group because you don't want it, and you don't do anything about it, that speaks volumes. Nature party. Oh yeah. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I'm a big nature nut. I've always kind of been that way. I don't know if you heard earlier. I saw that poor lady walking down the road with a walker. I'm pretty sure I interviewed her a couple of years ago because when I turned around and picked her up and took her down to the store, she said I looked familiar. Well, I mean, I used to go to that BP. She doesn't. Maybe I saw her in the dollar store, though I don't go there that much. But I'm pretty sure she had an Athens phone number because when I gave her a phone number, she called me so she could put it in her phone. And it was Athens. And I said, oh, I see you live. Did you live in Athens for a while? She said, yeah, I did. I said, were you homeless for a while? She said, I was. I said, did I ever interview you while I was up there? And she said, no, I don't remember. I'm not sure. I'm really kind of 50-50 with it. But anyway, she lives lives about 3 miles away from here in some Section 8 housing. So it's good that she came from Athens and got down in some Section 8 housing. It's actually a nice complex. And I felt kind of sad because I said, well, if you ever need anything, you need a ride, just give me a call. I'm around all the time, only a few miles away. And I said, I see you outside, like we'll get a nice warm day and I'll see her outside in her walker. And she said, well, if you're ever driving by, you see me, stop by and we can visit. So, she's only been there since November. So she probably doesn't have any friends. And there's a person, that's an example of someone that may be lonely. Not the focal point, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's hurtful. Oh, an age thing, yeah. Well, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's an odd thing. I mean, you guys know a lot about me, and I'd rather watch porn than have sex. I've been that way my whole damn life. I had one older girlfriend, the one I just canned up in Michigan, and that was kind of on again, off again. I mean, sometimes they were like mainly off. I mean, between the last time and the time before that was 12 years. Yeah, and you think, well, why would you go back after 12 years? I'll tell you exactly why. Easy blowjobs when I was up in Michigan. I mean, she liked me way more than I liked her. I was able to bullshit my way out of banging her. And she liked going out to eat, and I actually had some fun with her. I mean, I never married her in a fucking million years. She was talking about moving down here, and I thought, no fucking way. I'd fucking kill myself. I mean, the blowjobs weren't any good, to tell you the truth. But, this is going to sound fucking perverted. But, hey, what's the surprise, right? What really kind of got me interested in this, believe it or not, was that she's a religious nut. Hey, Tammy. Yeah, I know, YouTube. They're not doing me any favors. She was kind of a religious nut, and it really, like, in a weird way, like, kind of excited me that I was able to come up there and get her to blow me all the time. Honest to God, man. Tell you the truth. Hey, Cindy, how you doing? If she wouldn't have been religious, I don't think I had a thing to do with her. But she was always running around with a Bible in her hand, and never. She knew better to try and recruit me to church, and I'd always be pitching her and how sex was natural, and it didn't need to be full blown intercourse. Pray, fuck yeah. I had a fucking 10 Bibles in my trunk, bullshit my way about every time. I just didn't want to do it. You get jealous when people say they have sex all the time. Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you. Well, if it's good sex, which is hard to find, if it's good sex. Here's the thing, though. I talk about that, You know, if you watch enough and you listen to me, you'd think that I mean, I simplify it, right? Look, I'm not saying that I wouldn't like the other parts of a relationship too. I would, but I guess I don't know. I just don't have the ability to like invest that much in it. You know what I mean? It's always one or the other. It's either super sex and there's not a lot going on. I mean, I've yet to find someone that could give great head but still like the symphony. It's usually one or the other. I mean, I'm not shitting you. When it comes to like educated, cultured women, that are smart, that you really have that stimulating conversation with, they're just fucking duds sexually. And you get these wild part-time clerks at the Dollar General or working double shifts at the Waffle House. Man, I felt like I was fucking rear-ended in a car accident. I mean, these are some fucking beasts. Tattoos of their old boyfriend's name on their boobs, tramp stamp. Just freak, good genetics bodies, don't work out, young, crazier than hell. Like that one on the Beverly Hillbillies. Ran around those shorts, cut off jeans. Now, those are the same ones that steal a check out of the back of your checkbook, and all of a sudden, you're getting these notice for insufficient funds, and you found out they went out and made a down payment on a fucking 25-year-old beater to get to the Waffle House. Now, the cultured one wouldn't think about that kind of shit, and she just thinks that, like porn, you ought to be arrested for having it. So, I mean, this notion that you're going to find everything right, that's what I said. It's always a compromise. You can kind of get the old, polarity to like head towards the center here and there. But man, getting there, and like we were talking about last night, I think there's a lot of people that never had good sex. I mean, really chime that bell, like knocking out fillings and stuff, and like it's just on your mind all the time. You want to get some more of that. That will smooth over and overlook so much shit. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's just the way it is. And here's another thing too. When you're young, the protocol takes care of it itself. You're young, you're like really like interested in sex. You get older and it's like, you're showing up and you're thinking to yourself, God damn, how am I going to get out of banging this old broad? I only had one older girlfriend. It's not because I can get a bunch of young women. It's just kind of worked out that way. I mean, for years, for like 25 years, I had like fuck buddies, like hookups through younger women that I knew. And that just went on like the whole time I lived in Chicago and the whole time I was going back to Michigan. And then I went up to West Branch and that kind of dried up for a while, but only for like the last 5 years. And that's how I met that older lady at an antique store. And she was, I thought, a very attractive older woman. It just drove me fucking nuts. I mean, I wasn't interested at all. I'm not bullshitting you. That's a person. She talked. God damn. Fuck, you could take the phone and just set it down, go take a shower, brush your teeth, come back. She'd still be talking. You don't even need to say, yeah, and about the dumbest, stupidest, boring shit in the world. Let me tell you, I earned those blowjobs. I had to listen to a lot of fucking bullshit. Yeah, no, you're right about that, Mazer Mom. Sure is true. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, in like advice, be careful the advice you seek. No, I can't. That's true. Yeah, no, that's true about that. You're right. I mean, I always joke that the good sex comes from broken homes. I think there's an element of truth to that. I'm not saying you can't be good and bad and come from a stable family, but it seems like those GED girls and the ones with stepdaddies and all that kind of shit, lost her virginity at 14. They are like fucking monsters. Everything has a price. Absolutely right. That's right up there with be careful what you wish for. Yeah. And you know how you beat around the bush and you get around. I mean, you let's say, for an example, you go on these dating sites. It's all the fucking bullshit. When you're young, why they're on there. and you know why you're on there. But when you get older, it gets even worse in a way because you're thinking, oh my God, I'm just not really into this shit. Man, when you're going through photos of young women when you're a young guy, I mean, unless they're just beastly, you'd fuck them all. And then when you get older, it's like, man, your eyes look at them, and then it's calculating your brain. This is like kind of like when they show those gorillas a mirror. Some of them bash the mirror, some run, some of them just stand there thinking, what the fuck? And that's kind of how it is when you're older, you're dating, you're clicking on these fucking profiles. And, it's like, oh my God. And they probably think the same thing about me. You're just looking at them. You just look through your 550th fucking woman in your age group, and you think to yourself, when nobody's around, I wouldn't let one of them blow me. That's sad. I mean, that just blows everything out of the water, no pun intended. You're just thinking, oh my God, no fucking way. Absolutely not. 1 out of fucking 25,000 of them is sexually attractive. And when you come down to whittling it down to that small a number, there's got to be like a fucking zillion guys her age looking after. I mean, I see these women on these things, and it's like I'm some great prize true. You couldn't fucking pay me. I mean, they just got baggage. They're fucking all this bullshit they put in these profiles. God. No, man. Well, I can tell you, James, there's nothing to look forward. That's why I said these are important years in your life, and you ought to be fucking every night. And I think when you go home, if you've taken nothing away from this chat, it's time to get going between the sheets with your wife. You take it from old therapist Tom. You tell old Abacadabra she needs to step up to the plate, whether it's a handful of hormones every night or what, but it's time to party. Yeah. I don't think I will ever get rid of live with a guy again. Yeah, famous last words. Oh, you're not flawed because that's nuts. Oh, fuck yeah. You need to get anxiety from meeting some guy that you're attracted to. You fucked around. You went out a bunch of fucking stupid beach walks in the summer and made out. You need to get anxiety about the first time you're going to get a good dicking. That's the kind of anxiety. I mean, you're too young, Angie, to like be given up so soon. Like I tell Michelle all the time, another 20 years now, you won't be able to give it away. Don't let, there's a window of time. There's a finite time when men want to give you a good banging. Don't go through that time because now you have options. You're an attractive woman. You're educated. You're available. It's time to get down. I mean, if I have to, I'll go to the veterinarian store and when I come up there and visit you this summer, inject your ass with some goddamn hormones and get the ball rolling. Anytime, James. I'm here to help. Party or move on. Yeah. Yeah, I do have fun at it. I like talking about it. Yeah, I mean, Michelle's going to know. Michelle's going to be charting on to new waters pretty soon. Hey, Michelle, can I just tell one little thing on here? No, I don't want to talk too much about Michelle's personal life, but I just wanted to say one thing because, to look at it like a good overture, you're younger than Angie, and I just want to make Angie feel good with some real world facts. Can I do it? Can I do it? Oh, lady from Detroit, which one? Yeah. Well, can I just say one little thing, Michelle, not like too detailed? Let me give you an example. Now, Michelle knows about this. We talk openly all the time. I think you guys know Michelle. She comes on. I might do that fucking StreamYard again, but I don't want to hurt people's feelings. There are a bunch of people I'm really not interested in talking to. I mean, you guys are great, but anyway, back to the point. So, I mean, Michelle's not my type. I'm sure I'm not her type, and I'm like, 29 years older than her, something like that. But I think Michelle's attractive. And you can always notice when she's on the StreamYards that the interest in the comments by the older women just go fucking south quick. They're very critical of her. And I know why. I tell people all the time, if you want to upset a bunch of older women at a cocktail party, just let them overhear you talking about how attractive the young women are. You're lucky if they don't just stab a fucking ice pick in your spine. It really rubs them the wrong way. And if you're tactful and, you're at an event, you know better than to talk this stupid shit. You know what I mean? But here, back to the point, back to the matter at hand. Angie, now listen up on this. So Michelle would be considered, if you were in the dating world, at 40 years of age, an attractive woman. I mean, if I was 40 and I like that style of women, and I met Michelle at a bar, I'd think, wow, this is fucking really great. Are you kidding me? I mean, she's an attractive girl. And here Michelle is out there, and it just isn't as available like as you would think with men that are around that she could hook up with to start a relationship with. So the point here is, Angie, for you, me, and everybody else on here, if Michelle is having a difficult time on a open forum of meeting men, what the fuck is it like for the rest of us? I mean, she's got the looks department covered. So don't get too down on this. You know what I mean? I'm not sure what's going on out there right now, but she's not the first one. It's I don't know whether it's COVID, whether dating sites have run the gamut and it's over and you got to be a creeper, a pervert, or a fucking loser to be on one, but it isn't like it used to be. Hey, Jennifer, how you doing? It's not like it used to be. And she's not the first person that's told me that. It's one fucking Freddy Krueger after another. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. That's why. Yeah. I don't feel like it. That's why. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, why don't you go do it? You're a wizard. Yeah, it's like a battle zone out there. I mean, when you're young, hormones sky high, you haven't had a good pound in a year and a half, and you're out there and you're ready to go, right? And it's just so I'm not really sure what the sentiment is out there amongst people that are available. Something's off though. It's like poison in the well. And Michelle's not the first one that I've known that from. I just think it's a strange time in society. I've even talked to young people, like I go up to University of Georgia in Athens all the time. And there are lots of young, good-looking men and women that are having a hard time hooking up and being sexually active. It's a weird time. I don't know what it is. In the old days, you just chalked it off. Well, when AIDS came out and that kind of stuff, HIV, it's like, yeah, herpes, syphilis, who wants that? There was some discretion. You weren't just banging everybody like the 60s. But now it's even something stranger, and I really don't know what it is. I think it's everything coming together, women being able to survive on their own. I mean, when you look at the marriage statistics back in the day, the women had to have a man around, even if he treated her like shit because she couldn't find gainful employment. Yeah, you might be right on that, Mark. It's a battle zone. Yeah, I think you're right. Just one creeper after another. And single girlfriends in their 50s and 60s, they seem to never be able. No, that's what I think. Always issues. Well, I think part of that, though, is two things. You're burning the candle at both ends. First of all, you got a lot of life experience. Your hormones are low. You recognize the baggage, and you're just not that turned on over them. You're just not. I mean, there's a big fucking difference. I'll give you an example. I'm probably the worst example in the world for this. You'll say, well, you put too much emphasis on looks. Yeah, well, you know what? Maybe I do. If I didn't, I'd have fucking 50 plus size women over here throughout the month, and I don't. Why? Because I'm not attracted to overweight women. Just not. Yeah, it's an issue with me. I'm just old fashioned. I'm dating myself. I like attractive women that aren't overweight. Sorry. I'm sure I get fucking slaughtered with emails tomorrow morning. Oh, you're welcome. And they don't say hi to you because you haven't been around that much. And I don't think they're sure who you are. Now, I'm not knocking you. Now look, I'll make you a moderator so you can be welcome to the cloud. So and I'm not knocking you at all over this, but you're very sensitive to that. about people. I don't give a fuck if somebody says hi to me, get fucked, ignores me. That's just something that doesn't bother me. But I know that's important to you. And I can tell you this from the people that are on the chat right now, I know these people through the course of the years, not, well, but, good enough to say nobody has a problem with you. They just don't know you and they're not really sure who you are. I think that's what it is. I'd tell you otherwise. I'll give you a straight answer. Everyone has baggage. They sure do. They do. No, I would tell you. There have been people. I've gotten rid of most of them. You guys know who that is. I just don't want these whiners, seekers, fucking know-it-all chronic liars. Hey, Lucid, how you doing? Fear of disease heightened as a whole after COVID. Yeah, shit, man. I was only just worried about getting herpes when I was young. There's an element of luck to that, too. I mean, unless you want to be celibate. Yeah, we welcome you, Jennifer, see? No, you don't know, but they've been around forever. Cindy's been around longer than you have. Angie's recent, probably a year. Mark's been around forever. Stephanie's been around forever. Michelle's been around 3 years. Terry's been what, about a year and a half? Yeah, it's all bullshit. It's all made up. I could tell you this too. I told you before, I had a buddy of mine that was on that Fear Factor. And he got on that show because this gay casting agent saw us walking one time to go get lunch. And basically, it was a whole setup of him winning Fear Factor, getting on the show. And all those people were models. All those shows, whether it's looking in storage units for gold coins, antique shows in Las Vegas, you're just not going to make a television show of going in storage units with any audience if you just go in there and find like 99.9% of them that are there, a bunch of fucking junk. So you got to have some big-titted girl with a big 12-inch cleavage bending over, looking for bullshit and conflict and drama. All those shows are bullshit. Yeah, every one of them, from fucking Storage Wars to the antique shows to the Bachelor bullshit. Just fucking nuts. I mean, who would want to watch a show where two fucking lunatics are going to get married on a first date? I mean, does it get any fucking nuttier than that? And they had the balls to, they make Jerry Springer shows look like Family Hour. 5 years on and off? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's fucking bullshit, man. Oh, 3 years. Yeah, mixed gas. Oh, have you? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, surprise you in a bad man. Yeah. Hey, here's another fucking deal too, and I'm not going to give out any names here. Protect the innocent. But I know maybe like 3 or 4 women that have been on these dating sites, and I talk about sex all the fucking time, blowjob. I know this, right? But at least you know what you're getting. I'm not sitting here with a Bible in my hand and talking about how dirty porn is. You know what comes with the fucking package here. You know what I mean? But I think it's very fucking creeper that I know women on dating sites, and after these chats or however the fuck they do it now, roses sent to you or some bullshit, it's not just two people talking anymore. It's all this extra charge shit. They're like wanting to send dick pics to these women. That is so fucking weird. I mean, you won't find a bigger pervert than me. In my whole life, hey, yeah, man, how you doing? In my whole life, I'd never consider sending a dick pic to anybody except maybe Stephanie. And that's because she asked for it and it was her birthday. Yeah, see, Jennifer? No, Jennifer knows me, Cindy. She knows me. She's just, I like Jennifer. She's been around a long time. And she's probably mad that I said that, but I just call a spade a spade. She's like sensitive about that. I was just only pointing out, not to, make Jennifer look bad, that I don't care if somebody says hi to me, but Jennifer's like sensitive to that. And that's okay. And that's good. It's all right. Yeah, but nobody's got a problem with you. I just don't think they're familiar with you. I really don't. Yeah, I tell it like that is. I tell it like it is. You know what you're getting, I I ask you things straight up, Jennifer. You want me to give everybody an example? Yeah, good for you, Terry. Good for you. Hey, Bruce, how you doing? Yeah, I really do. No, I'm telling you, if there was something to it, I'd fucking tell you. Or it'd be true and you'd have been blocked long ago. We just don't want these wackos on here. You know, it's all right. You know, I got my faults. Everybody's sensitive to something. You know, I can remember one time it was a roommate of my wife, but I haven't dated my wife at the same time. I was just getting to know her. And I was over, I wasn't like dating the roommate, but kind of like flirting around, fucking around, that kind of shit. And I was laying on her lap. I was trying, with my head facing up. And she was scratching the top of my head. And she said to me, your hair's starting to get thin on the top. And so I know what being sensitive about something is. Now, you could have just took a Louisville Slugger with both hands and cracked me across the forehead, and it wouldn't have bothered me like that simple comment did. And if she'd have known it, I didn't know it at the time, you know? Then I went home and did a handstand on the bathroom sink, and I'm lucky I'm not a quadriplegic because I didn't have another mirror to look. And she was exactly right. So that's okay. But I'm telling you, if there was something here, I hope it's good enough for you to know that I would tell you about it. Or I'd contact you on the side and I'd say, hey, look, Jennifer, you're getting fucking weird. People think you're screwy, you're interrupting all the time, you're nuts. I think you'd be better off someplace else. And I haven't done that, much less make you a moderator. Not that that's nirvana on a chat, but it's an indicating that we think you're fine or wouldn't do it. Yeah. Yeah. But I don't think it's really a condition of that too. It's just, I think Jennifer thinks that they know her and they're ignoring her, and that's just false. Yeah, for a long time. I mean, I asked Jennifer stuff. I let her have it. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. There is a protocol for that as well. You just can't get, you can't be like creeper about it. Yeah, I let them have it. And sometimes you can just ask things that are none of your business. And I don't mind asking those either. Sometimes you just want to know. For the hell of it. I think women do the same thing. Oh, I won't. I won't tell them. I won't tell them. No, I tell them. And not that I don't use private conversations against anybody. I'm not like that. Really not. That's dirty. I'll tell you another fucked up thing too. Is like having sex tapes with people. No matter what happened, I would never like upload those to like a porn site. First of all, it's a felony now, but it wasn't for years. You got to be one big prick to do some shit like that. That someone would actually trust you enough to make dirty videos, as my grandmother would say. And then you get mad and you break up and you upload those. I think you got to be a real special fucker to do something like that. You really do. I mean, just like fuck. If I knew a guy that did that, I'd quit being friends with that motherfucker. No matter what the circumstances were, I would not do it. I just think, what an asshole. Just not right. I think it's just strange. Boy, they've been catching a lot of these damn school teachers around here screwing their students. That to me is just super creeper too. Yeah, just really fucking weird. You take a young, I mean, look, there are young, attractive girls, right? Here's another thing I want to tell you too. Women are sensitive to at least in my case. I mean, I see young girls sometimes that I think are super pretty, great bodies, maybe overdeveloped for their age. And if they were 80 years old and their body looked that, I'd think the same thing. And I think guys kind of all get lumped in sometime because the women happen to be young that you're a pervert. That's just not true. At least with me, it has nothing to do with age. I mean, pretty and attractive stands alone. Sometimes they are young, like 16, something like that. It just kind of works out that way. But this notion that, when somebody recognizes someone that's attractive that isn't 18, doesn't make them a pervert. They're just recognizing a pretty attractive person. It doesn't mean you're pursuing it or you're trying to get it or you want to see it or any of that kind of weird shit. And I think people are way off base on that stuff sometimes. That's a world away from being a pedophile. Yeah, the world in a lot of ways. Well, if you read about, I've been reading a lot of philosophy about religion, and the argument against God, like an atheist. And there is an argument for why evil prevails so much if, in fact, there's a God. And the thing that I just read the other day is, let's say you're a Christian and you believe in God and Jesus and all that kind of stuff. Why in the world would you ever think you should have to bring someone back in the human form of yourself? I mean, to me, it doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't. I mean, why would you do that? And another philosophy theory out there is that the world would be better off if, rather than making other species go extinct, that humans cause their own extinction. And that's actually thought-provoking. Would the world be a better place without humans? And I say yes. Yes. That's what I think too, Lucid. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, I really think so. Yeah, you'd have to be a real fucker to do that. I think you would. I mean, you can just get caught up in limbo. You can be between worlds. You know what I mean? I was thinking about this today too. I thought I'll bring this up. No big deal. And I knew this guy one time, real nice guy. He's a doctor now. Kind of, it looked like Poindexter. And him and another guy I knew, they belonged to the gym that I belonged to in Chicago. And we would go to this place. They made homemade Italian sausage in this little like section of Chicago. And they took me over there. And they were both going to medical school. Anyway, the one guy, he had a woman that lived next door to him in an apartment. And she was some kind of social worker. And I eventually met her. Super pretty. I mean, you just would have never believed in a million years how she would go with this nerdy guy. But for whatever reason. Well, anyway, for about like the first 6 months, these black guys would come over and give her a good rail, and he'd hear her screaming at the top of her lungs, coming, and would tell his buddy about it, and he told me about it too. Well, long story short, they end up dating, and they're married now and have a couple kids. And I've thought about this a lot. Now, to me, if I'd have heard that shit from a guy in any race, I think it would have been a deal breaker. Now, why is that? Why does that bother me? She was a single woman. We had nothing going on. And I'm, 2 sheets of drywall away from her getting railed a lot. She'd have 2 or 3 different guys over there. And presumably, she met these guys, hey, Sharon, through her work. And then you start dating. I could not get that fucking shit out of my mind. It would bother me. Why is that? Can anybody explain that to me? Oh, it's not that good. It's overrated. Nah, it's bullshit. I lived there 13 years. That is so hyped up bullshit, Lucid. Honest to God, just do one in Denver. Nah, that food tour is a bunch of bullshit. I think that would bother me. Yeah, Daisy's sleeping. Yeah, she is. But do you think that's weird that this would bother me? No, it's not. Now you really couldn't call it jealous because you weren't in their life at the time. I think I got a real fucking main screw loose in my mind about that shit. I mean, I would have think about girlfriends having sex with guys before they even knew me. It drove me fucking nuts. I don't know why. I don't know whether, like I said, I don't know. I want to know this. I'm asking you. Shit, I thought about this a lot, but it did. It really bothered me. I don't know whether my deep down, one level below my subconscious just didn't want intimacy with someone else confirmed in that manner. Fuck, I don't know. I mean, I know, I just wanted to I knew they got nailed before I met him, but I guess just hearing it and knowing about it and just fucking mind wanders. Oh, no, I'd love to tell you. I don't know what. No, it's not black guy because I wondered about this too. If it would have been a white guy, it would have bothered me just as much. But I guess it's just something with fuck. I don't really know. I don't really know. Being vital, yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, but Lucid, how about this for an example? So the same thing happens to you before you married the guy that you're married to now. And your same scenario, you're living in apartments with thin walls. And for a year, he's just railing the fuck out of these waitresses and strippers, and you're just screaming. And you finally go out and get some foam inserts for your ear because he's just fucked 70 or 80 women that you know he has because you saw him leave the next morning. And then you start dating. Would this just not bother you at all? Yeah, I've read that too, Angie. I've read that too. Yeah, no, I've read that too. Yeah, I don't really. I'd like to just get it over with and say, yeah, I was jealous. I don't know what the fuck it is. Now I can tell you this: if it was someone that I wasn't dating that I found attractive, I'd probably be fucking jacking off the whole fucking time, and bought him a big goddamn candied ham for Christmas. But when it switches into that intimacy thing later on, it bugged the fuck out of me. It's not like I'm hoping for a Vestal Virgin. I don't know what it is. I cannot figure it out. The lover's past. Yeah, but I can understand lover's past once you're related. But what, I don't want to say right because it's an emotion and there are no boundaries. But what would, you know, I think it's just a step about knowing it. It's one thing hearing it, and it's another thing assuming it. When you're young, at least I was, you're really worried about this as a young guy. You want to find out how these women lost their virginity. I mean, was it at the end of a fucking roast pig party, a drunken binge, spring break? I learned early on to quit asking. Yeah, nah. Well, you can't really call it betrayal because I didn't know nothing was going on. I got one slight theory on it, and I think that is that it puts up this really safe barrier of just being in too deep. And then before you know it, you've spent 5 years with them and you get an ultimatum. That's the best way I can put it to you. It's like, well, either we're going to have to like move forward and you make a commitment or I'm off to testing the water. It's like, well, I don't really want that either. So you get married. That's what I think it is. I can't really figure it out. Stephanie, don't you know something about this? Would that bother you? Form of jealousy. Yeah, maybe that could be a form of jealousy. Yeah, that is fucked up as it gets, isn't it? You're getting jealous about something that you couldn't have done anything about that's long over. Now, I would say the majority of the guys that I know, I ask them straight out. Even to this day, if we're talking about something, I say, hey, does it bother you how many times your wife got fucked by different guys before she met you? It's like, not at all. It's like, you're kidding me. It's like, no, doesn't bother them at all. They said what she did before she met me doesn't bother me. And that just goes to show you the parameters of mental behavior amongst people. One guy is crazy over it. I mean, this is how fucked up it is. I know I would bring it up sooner or later. You'd get into one of these conversations about, is there anything you want to talk about? Things on your mind? It's like, yeah, there's something on my mind. It's like, well, what's that? And it's like, well, before we ever started dating, I heard you over there getting railed. And they get quiet. And then it just all goes to hell. Yeah, it kind of seems like it. I mean, you got to admit that jealousy is probably on the front burner. I mean, because what else is it going to be? You take jealousy out of the equation. What is it? Just being a fucking psycho lunatic? No, that's smart. Believe it or not, that's smart. This notion that you just bear all to relieve your own guilt is just fucking stupid. If you read studies on marital theory and what works and what doesn't, They say that when you confess to affairs or sexual trysts, that the only person you're helping is yourself from relieving guilt. I think there's an element of truth to that. Oh, you don't think so, Mizra? I think you're right. I think she is right. I tell these women sometimes that I know, yeah, you talk about get what you're paying for. I tell them, you tell these men, if you're like me, there's nothing good that comes out of a guy. If you get a very convincing, charming, smooth talking motherfucker, he can talk you out all sorts of fucking shit. And I tell him, you just got to bite the leather strap on this one and just tell him that you're moving forward and that the past is the past, and just kind of make it go away by saying there's nothing crazy, nothing excessive. You were an adult woman. You weren't promiscuous. And you couldn't be happier that you've met him, and that you don't think your history has anything positive to offer, and you don't think that his has any, and just move forward. Just exit stage one. Yeah, I think that's smart. That's good. That's good. I think it's good advice. You're fucking A right. Yeah, that's right, Terry. Yeah. A cheater, yeah. Well, I'm not saying it's good, but I do think a lot of guys that cheat, I'm not, I mean, women are really, in general, think differently than men. They just feel like totally just broken when a man fools around. I can just tell you this from every single guy I've known. It isn't like that. It doesn't make it any easier to take, but that's what saves the marriage, when the guy convinces the wife that there were no feelings there and that he would have never considered marrying them, which I believe is true. And 99% of the time, the girlfriend's nowhere near the category or in class of the woman they married. It's easy. They're attracted to him. They don't think the cat's going to get out of the bag, so they do it. Men just think, well, it's just sex. What are you worried about? I didn't have any feelings for her. And that can actually get you off the hook with women. Now, if you want to ruin it for good and just monkey wrench the future, just say, well, I really fell in love with her. You're fucked, even if you didn't have any sex. You're done. That's the biggest taboo you can have. It's over. You're never going to bullshit your way out of that one. I mean, maybe you can try and say a month down the road at a therapist office you lied, but why would you lie about something like that? Yeah, you're fucking stupid. Maybe it has something to do with your emotional IQ. If you got half a fucking brain, you can navigate a relationship that survives all this crazy bullshit we're talking about. You know when to keep your mouth shut and when to divulge the truth. And that's a, squirmy line. No, I agree with that, Miser Mom. Yeah. Lust. I think lust is faulty. It's like a drop ceiling. You take the drop ceiling down and there's rat's nests and spider webs and old paint. Fucking bullshit. Lust it's like fantasy. You're piecing together vague, unsubstantiated data into what you'd like it to be rather than what it is. Yeah, I think you're right too. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That's an interesting point. It's true. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing about that, Miser Mom. What causes insecurity? I mean, theoretically, if you had a woman that was doing everything right, whatever that is, the guy'd have no reason to be insecure. But I do know guys that they're just paranoid. I mean, they're checking their wives' phones, putting fucking GPS trackers on their car, and all that kind of bullshit. And in fairness to the whole conversation, some of these women have been caught fucking around. It's not love. But what is love, Mark? It's like value. What is the value to somebody? Are your values the same as mine? You know what I mean? What the fuck is love? You know what I mean? Well, I mean, what is it really? Someone you're willing to lose half your shit over when you get divorced, so you marry him anyways? Someone during the first 6 months of the relationship when you think it's going to be like that forever? Great sex and everything else isn't worth a fuck. Good, super people that rear your kids well, that are great mothers and members of the community that aren't worth a shit in bed. Yeah, security and trust, yeah. But like I said, if you just look at the numbers only, long-term relationships are not doing too well. So with that in mind, the security and trust eventually, at least statistically, seems to wane more often than not. Why? This is what I propose. I propose that the next relationship I have, we're just doing it like as Simon says. You do what I ask you to do, and I'll do what you ask me to do. Period. How's that sound? Fucking Simon says. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you like some of the way. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I mean, I think some of the times, Lucid, I think some of the times, you know, 24 hours? Oh, that sounds good. It's a start. That sounds good. You think you could handle it? You think you could take it for 24 hours? Yeah, she may be calling my bluff on this one. Yeah, trying to kill me. Yeah, Simon said. I think that's the way to go. Yeah, I think it's more of a man's concept than a woman's. I like the idea of it though. But maybe you like the idea of it if you're fucked up and you can't fill the holes with conventional wisdom and behavior. Fuck, I don't know. I couldn't get Michelle. I couldn't get on that live stream earlier. It wouldn't come on. Yeah, family never meant much to me. That could be part of the problem too. I mean, maybe it is. You just never really know. It's like this bullshit I just went through with this divorce. You don't know if your lawyer caused this, a fucked up judge. It's always kind of murky. You got theories and you know things that could have been better, but what was the final reason for that? I think when you win an appeal and you get it reversed like I did, somebody fucked up somewhere. This is what's so fucked up about the legal profession. I get my fucking ass handed to me. It cost me a fortune. I did everything I was supposed to do. If I didn't have the money, I'd be fucked. So I appeal it and I get it reversed. So judges, presumably, and some bias because it went my way, that aren't elected, intellectuals that sit down and look at where the judge erred, agreed that she slaughtered my fucking case. Now, should she be a judge? I say no. She's the most overturned judge in the county and a bitch on top of it. I won, got it all reversed. I'm not getting everything, but I'm getting tons more than I got before. And there's really, unless there's an egregious error in the appellate judges, 1 out of 500,000 appellate decisions get reversed. You can file for a rehearing. But if you read between the lines and you consult attorneys, it's usually just to get the other party to charge, in this case, my wife, another $5,000, while my wife knows nothing and believes there's a possibility when there isn't. So I'm home free. I won. She doesn't. She's going to have to sell the house. Not my problem. That property is going to have to be sold, which was the whole reason for this dilemma to begin with. I'm telling you, if she'd have had the money, she'd have paid me off. She didn't. She didn't want to move, and she couldn't, and she didn't have the money to pay me off. That's basically what it came down to. No, that's true, Ms. Mom. You're right. Absolutely right. You can do everything right and still get hosed. Thank you. Yeah, it is good news, great news. But to be honestly, yeah, she has to sell it. Yeah. Minus coming up with a ton of money, which I know she can't come up with. Let me tell you, if she could have swung another payment on her own, she let her ego get in the way. She would have given me the money, but she was fucked either way. And it's this ridiculous, crazy, inflated bullshit value of Florida property. Oh, thank you. I mean, it's all fucking nonsense, man. Like 170,000 an acre, that kind of shit. I paid 10 grand an acre for it. Yeah, I mean, it's fucking nuts. It's starting to happen around here. Luckily, between Marty and me, you're never going to be our close neighbor. But I still don't like the idea of like cars coming down the road and sirens and that kind of shit. In the 3 years I've been here, it's still like way busier than it was. The lady at the dollar store told me the other day, all the people moving here, that's because it's affordable. I think there's 159 counties in Georgia. This is third from the bottom as far as being broke. Third from being the brokest county in the state. But that's what I like about it. I like it like this. I do. Now, would I like it like this living in downtown Crawfordville? Probably not, although it would still be way better than living someplace else. It's not like this here, like you'd have, like it is in Atlanta or Chicago or Detroit. This is like the old days. That's it, Mark. No, she wouldn't. But that actually, as it turns out, one of their arguments when I was a deadbeat husband that didn't want to work, that abandoned her. Now, wouldn't you think that filing joint income tax for 25 of the 28 years I've been gone, how could have I abandoned her? We got together, we pooled our data together and signed tax returns for 25 years. How is that abandonment? As it turned out, not only did the lower court, the circuit court, not give a fuck, neither did the appeals court. That didn't mean a fucking thing. I think she was trying to outlive me. Yeah, I do. And I don't want to, in defense of her, what do? You get put in a dilemma like this. It's like these, shows they show on the Holocaust, and, you're in a boat in the Titanic and there's 2 kids and 1 life preserver, that kind of shit. She was backed into a corner, and you rationalize things that you do. And she knew I had a pretty good life, whether or not I got a dime or not. Fuck, I don't know. And when it came to like rolling the dice on this, she didn't want to move no matter what. And in her mind, she's going to tell you that when I left, that place wasn't worth what it's worth now, which is true, which is why I was willing to take $600,000 instead of $2.2 million. I agreed with it. But even if you compounded my initial money with simple interest for 28 years, it'd be way more than she has to come with now. Not my fucking problem. Like I said, the mother didn't have much money. It got split in 4 ways instead of 2. Well, she could come up with 250 grand. Not my problem. Yeah, it really is, Lucid. It is. It's true. But I'll tell you this, for all the people out there that think that you'd like to be alone, and this takes some getting used to. It does. It really does. At your age, I doubt you'd like it like I do. If I don't want to go anywhere, I don't. Like tomorrow, I'm going to buy some weights off a guy in Augusta. Everything good is 50 miles away. A good Walmart is 36 miles away. I got a dollar store, and that's it. But it's worth it to me. Now, if I had to drive those distances every day for some job, it wouldn't be worth it to me. The school system's shitty. I mean, I go for these 6.4 mile walks all the time at night, even like early, like 6 to like, takes me about 2 hours and 40 minutes. And sometimes I don't see any cars. Sometimes I see 2, 1, 3, 5. This is on like paved roads. There's nothing around here. I think so too, Bruce, but nobody else thought that. They call it equitable distribution. You can look it up in Florida law, equitable distribution. It's fucking weird. No, I mean, she's a good person in a lot of ways. It's just, there's another guy, which I don't care about. And I mean, I wish the best of luck to her, to tell you the truth. And if I didn't want the money, I mean, I could have got by without it. If she would have handled a little differently, I would have fucking just walked. Fuck it. I would have just walked. Oh yeah, it was a long one though. Started out in 1979. I'll tell you guys right this. I mean, I tell you guys like it fucking is, man. This is what really made me do it, to be honest with you. I think I would have probably walked. So long story short, I lived in Chicago for quite a while, right? Now the statute of limitations has expired, so this is why I'm telling you this, that even if you didn't like me or you're a stalker hiding in the background, there's nothing you can do about it. I was living in Chicago, and I had got into some commercial real estate. The market took a dive. When you had that kind of property down there in Florida, there was no room to add on another $300,000 or $400,000 for some shit. You had payments on that place. Taxes were crazy. So it's not like you'd just go out and get a home equity loan. And all of a sudden, even if you look at a $300,000 loan, that's another fucking $1,900 a month forever. So during the course of this time, this fucking real estate fucking shit went south. And you were just fucking fucked. Chicago said that they weren't going to evict people anymore. So the people that had the notes, like me, had to pay the bank. And the people that were living there or renting there weren't going to get evicted if they didn't pay anything. So you can imagine what happened. At the time, in Frisky, I told Frisky about this one time. I was managing an estate for somebody. And that estate had some money in it. Now, anybody that gets caught with embezzlement always says I planned on paying it back. And I did plan on paying it back with interest. But, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So when you're dealing in trusts, you don't report to anybody. And in other words, nobody really knows what you're doing. And there were no individuals that were heirs to this estate. So bottom line, I borrowed $90,000. And then the market got worse. Went in and had problems with depression. She had like a fucking 401k or some kind of bullshit like that. I go through like a big long time of fucking depression on my mind. I don't have a way to pay this fucking $90,000 back. So we were, I thought, friends, even with me having all the knowledge of what was going on with her at the time. So I, had that problem with depression and got in some trouble over it. And the big major stumbling block was, how are you going to pay this $90,000 back? So I called her and I said, hey, look, I need $90,000 because this was a long time ago, like forever ago. And she said, for what? And I told her, she said, yeah, it's no problem. You got to pay these. And I said, well, I'll pay it back. I just don't know when. And she said, well, because I wanted to clear this fucking thing up, right? I didn't want this hanging over my head anymore. And she said, so she came up with it. And during the course of that, she knew the predicament that I was in. And I said, well, she said, you don't need to pay it back. She said, which I thought she really stepped up to the plate. She said, when we ever settle up on this house, you can just take it off your portion. The thing which I was thinking, I thought she really stepped up to the fucking plate. So she did that. And things got good again. I had some other things pay off. It went back to the good days. And I had the 90 grand within about 19 months to pay her back. So I sent her the $90,000 back and thanked her and said, hey, she said, well, you didn't need to send it back. I told you. I said, I know, but I knew, even though the figures are impressive about what that property's worth, it's still expensive to live down there and run that place. And I knew in my heart of hearts that she could use the 90 grand, put it back in your fucking 401k or what the fuck ever, right? So I sent it back to her. And I'm not saying I didn't have to, but in good conscience, I did. I could have just kept the 90 grand, but what kind of fucking asshole would do that? Nobody thinks you're going to have 90 grand within a 2-year period. You end up getting it, and then you're just going to keep it and deduct it out of some vague sale date that nobody knows. Fuck that. I borrowed the money. She did me a big favor. I gave it back. Well, early on, when we started having a rift over this fucking divorce shit. Now, mind you, I paid it fucking back. That'd be like me having an agreement with you. Yeah, I just told you what the circumstances were. And during that fucking deal, see, we had filed for divorce a couple times before. And there was an attorney involved earlier before the one she ended up getting that questioned me during some discovery if I had ever had any difficulties managing an estate with finance. Well, you know what that means. And this was back at the time where you could have really shoved it up my ass. And I'm assuming, I don't know this for sure, I think that my wife said, look, this fucker's crazy. And, let him know that, we're here to play ball, but don't push it. And I looked that fucking bitch right in the eye during a hearing on one of the earlier filings before it was dismissed and said I didn't have any problem at all. And you could have heard a pin drop. And I thought to myself right then, fuck you. I put that right up there with uploading porn because you're mad at some person you had a relationship with. I count that in the same category. And I thought to myself, okay, you're going to wish you didn't do that. And that was the whole reason for me pursuing it later on. And I swear to God, had that not been brought up like that, I think I would have just walked. I would have. I mean, it's not fair, but I would have. I think I would have just walked. And another thing, to be honest with you too, I've had some big ass fucking problems with goddamn depression. And honestly, I don't think I'd be around if I hadn't met Marty. I don't. Because if you look at histories of stuff like that, you will continually escalate it enough until you just got enough fucking balls to finish the job. And that had been heading that way for a while. So during the course of getting to know him accidentally and talking to him, people want to know about your life. And, I'd sold a second detective agency. I got like 50 grand down. He quit paying after about a year. And I just didn't, things were getting worse. And I'd been locked up in a couple of psychiatric hospitals. So those were kind of when I was starting to get to know him. And he said, why don't you just come down here and visit? It's like, okay. And I came down here. And during the course of that, he knew that I had some property down there, and it's almost like kind of embarrassing and I was kind of trying to figure out what the fuck I was going to do. It was like what you wanted to do, not what you should do, that kind of thing. So basically, bottom line is I laid it all out. It's like, hey, this is what happened. The embezzlement story, the whole bit. This is what I put into the place. This is what I paid it. And you'll never meet a more straight up good guy than him. And he said, that's fucking bullshit. And by that time, he was taking a gamble of what I was like. And he said, well, you really need to, pursue this. Now, in the meantime, other things had gotten better for me. Good night, Mark. And he's the one that talked me into pursuing it, that I thought that I should have, but it was kind of the impetus, and you need to get what you deserve. So those are the two factors that made this go my way. Yeah, she does need one. Those were the two factors. It was that comment she made through an attorney, and him just really pushing me to get what he thought I deserved. Or there's a better chance than not, I wouldn't have fucked with it. Yeah, I try to be, Yeah, he's a great guy. You'll never meet. I've met four good guys in my life. The guy that died, the priest, I would say I had a relationship with like him in Chicago. Marty, Ted, the guy up in West Branch, and Ken, another guy I know through YouTube that never comes on the chats or anything like that. My whole fucking life. I didn't have any friends like that my whole damn life until I moved to Chicago in 98. And it had nothing to do with religion. And then I got to know this guy, and we just became like great friends. It's like, God, it's like, oh, this is what they're talking about. I moved back to West Branch and tried to help my sister, who was a fucking lunatic. My parents were fucking nuts. I had a crazy nephew. I was just like, fuck, man. It just was not good for me friendship wise. I had people, I never had any problem, people wanting to hang out and that kind of shit, or girlfriends or something, but it was never that, like, really, like, you worry about these people and like you wonder what you'd do without them around. And the priest guy was dying, and I knew that he'd be dead, and it was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Here I am, an adult man, and I'm fucking breaking down over this shit. I'm like wondering, what am I going to do when he dies? Sad. So I moved back to Michigan. Fucking crazy. I think I would have went fucking nuts there instead of Michigan over that goddamn shit. It drove me fucking crazy. It did. And that was just like taking a step backward. Just I don't know what the fuck I was thinking at the time. I didn't want to go to Florida. I just couldn't. I wasn't even like capable of working for like fucking shit, man. I bet I'm not bullshitting you. I bet I was not like capable of working for a good 15 years. I'm not kidding you. You wouldn't think that you would get like, you could be so depressed it would affect your body in that state. I got taken to emergency room one time for like a heart problem. Ended up getting a heart surgery at Cleveland Clinic. Just fucking seeing psychiatrists, just like, just doing a fucking load of laundry seemed impossible. When you're super depressed, load of laundry is like running a fucking marathon. You got to get the soap. You got to get the machine. You got to separate it, put all this bullshit in it. And then you got to like dry it. It sounds funny now. And like fold it. Fuck me. It's just like all that shit seems impossible. I would like go out and buy new clothes because I was too depressed to wash old ones. Shit like that. This shit went on forever. Seriously, man. It was fucking nuts. So, and mind you, this stuff started way before I was interviewing prostitutes. That stuff didn't happen until I moved back to West Branch. And, Detroit was rock bottom, and it just kind of fucking jived with my mind. It's like just blight, fucking barren, nothing. I go down there. It was 180 miles one way. I'd drive down there and just stay up all night, fucking around, pissed off, depressed, going in all those abandoned buildings. I could have gave a fuck. I wasn't worried one bit about getting killed down there or anything. I didn't really give a fuck about it. And that's how that whole thing started. And it all started because it's like, oh, why do you pay? Why do you think you like interviewed prostitutes? Well, I was down there doing like that depressive blight photography. And I'd run into these prostitutes, and I thought, believe me, man, I fucking get this. Because I had already read a lot about depression and suicide. You're trying to figure out why, like, somebody like Maddie rolls the dice every day of the week with fentanyl. You don't know what Maddie went through in her life. All of it. And you can't imagine, as a person that's not there, what goes through their mind. Manny would like to die. I know this. And I was kind of like that too. So when I got down there and I met these people, it was never like looking at them like low class or like druggies or any of this kind of shit. It was just like, I get this 100%. Mine was more like shooting myself as opposed to doing drugs. And that's how it started. That's really what made it happen. And really the crux in the whole matter was I would see these prostitutes like buy loaves of bread for birds and buy lunch meat and give it to stray cats and shit in the winter. And then I'd see them get in the car with some John, go blow them for $10. And to me, it was just like, come on, man, these people are still coming through despite their living conditions. Well, I think, I wouldn't say I've ever really been out of it. I think what brought me out of it is moving down here. Be honest with you. Yeah, I think that's what did it. Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have suffered like chronic depression out there, but I mean, unless you've been there, this isn't the blues. I think it's genetics. I mean, I grew up in like a blue collar like family. My parents were fucking nuts. Both druggies, prescription pills, just irresponsible people. Shotgun running with my sister, 2 stillborn. And I'll tell you another thing too. I was an Rh negative baby. But I'll bet you money. I can't prove this. I'll never be able to prove it. I'll bet you those stillborn, a brother and a sister. I'll bet my mom was like, hey, Mikhail, I bet my mom like drank and smoked and did drugs and shit when she was pregnant with me. I bet you she did. Maybe not with my sister, the one that just died a couple years ago at 84, because that was a shotgun wedding. They were young. Their lives weren't fucking disasters yet. But those other 2 babies and me, I don't really know. I mean, I don't really blame it on anything. My best guess is genetics. I mean, I don't think my upbringing did any good for me. I mean, that's why I say, like an example today, I know how you can get on the other side of that in life. Believe me. And so when I try and do like little things for people, it's my pleasure. It's fucking nothing. Because when you get on the side of that, let me tell you, when you get on the side of something in a hole that deep, death doesn't seem so bad. I mean, you have suicide ideology. To be honest with you, I never even knew what that meant. That means wanting to kill yourself and not being able to finish yourself off. Well, I think if Michigan winters were depressing, they were depressing because I like those blizzards and all that kind of shit. And I'm still attracted to like being alone and isolated, night walks, being down in abandoned buildings in Detroit. It just seemed more real to me. It's fucking weird. And then even still, I like going to places, tourist places in the off season. It's fucking strange. Oh, are you? Interesting. Yeah, they do. Becky and both of they're locked up right now, supposedly. Maddie and Gerald, they're locked up. It's Maddie's road to recovery. If you put in YouTube search box Maddie and Gerald Owens, it's Jarryl. It'll lead you to her latest channel. I think she's been locked up for about 2 weeks. Gerald for like a month and a half. I talk to them maybe twice a year. I am going back to Michigan. Last I knew, Becky was living in a tent outside in the back of some Mexican family's house in the southwest part of Detroit, which I think was around that area where the water mains broke. Still hanging in there, still alive. It's amazing. Oh, good for you. Well, I tell people all the time. I mean, there are a lot of things out there that you can change. There are lots of new medications. And I never, GeneSight, which is a test you can take to see what type of antidepressants you're most likely to respond to. It saves a lot of time. Yeah, I think it helped me out a lot. Now, I still have it. I still do have problems with it from time to time. I mean, I've been down here 3 years. I'd say there were probably still probably 3 times I was considering offing myself since I've been here. So it hasn't, all been like, I mean, the big worries were out of the way. I felt a lot better after I got divorced. That's another thing. I think this is the same kind of mental illness. So like about the girl burying the guy, and then you end up dating her and marrying. It would drive me nuts. In a just as crazy as a way, I felt a relief when I was married because my fucked up thinking just cringed at the thought of my wife being involved in my death, even though I wouldn't be around anymore. It's fucking nuts. That's one thing. The second thing is Daisy, which was covered with Marty, and whatever money I had, he could have, which I was fine with. So that was a lot of like maybe, I don't want to say undeserved, but apparent pressure I created for myself. It's like, fuck, this is great. I can just be dead and good. It's like the two main worries were, but another fucking thing. I don't know why I just thought of this, but you know what really fucking pisses me off too? During this latest divorce go around, 3 years ago, I wanted to just have it amicable divorce after, we had filed against each other in the past. She still didn't want to get divorced. And that fucking lawyer of hers made out this big goddamn argument with the circuit court judge bought, and to an extent, the appeals court. I still got fucked out of about 12% about, that she was just, because of my mental health, was just hanging in there with me because I needed medical insurance. That is a fucking lie. That is not true. And look, if the shoe would have been on the other foot, I would have done it for her. Yeah, he's a really great guy, man. Super good guy. Everybody that knows him loves him, Marty. He's just like the best guy in the world. Just a super charming, legitimate guy that never has a bad thing to say about anybody. If you say something bad about somebody to him, he never comments. He's a half full guy. Hey, how you doing there? Oreo, how you doing? He's a really unique, good guy. Yeah, I like that kind of stuff too, Drifter. Yeah. Hey, Crunchy Munch, how you doing? Oh, yeah. So I mean, it's funny the stuff you can experience. You know what I mean? So I've been lucky in a lot of ways, fortunate, I guess. Yeah, I got lucky. So I don't know what to tell you, but that's how it went down for me. And honestly, I think, and a lot of that stuff that I'd been upside down in Chicago came back like big time. And when that did, everything was like really good again. I mean, I've been from fucking rags to riches like 3 times in my life. Swear to God. And then, like the last time it got good, which includes this time, man, you couldn't have told me that in 2007. I thought I was done for good. I thought I was fucked for sure, man. I used to really get excited about just moving to a new place and starting a new business. And it just got where I just wasn't capable about it, like I said, for like 15 fucking years. I mean, there was actually a time to where I'm like looking at working like at fucking midnight shifts at a goddamn gas station. Yeah, I mean, I've been really lucky, and believe me, I'm well aware. I'll give you an example. Like today, big fucking deal. A lady with a walker needs a ride to a store. I mean, so what, right? And I don't know if you were listening to me earlier when I was on, but there was a girl. I go to the Starbucks, right? And, I mean, I talk about liberals and fuck with them all the time. I mean, there are good things they do. I mean, like I said, publications with books that wouldn't make a dime, things like that. And fucking Starbucks, I mean, they're liberal. I mean, but in a way, I kind of like them. I mean, they're having a little difficulty with it now. I mean, it's a whole nother cut above the Indian gas station with the 99 cent, 3.5 gallon coffee. I mean, it's never empty. It's done right. The people are pleasant. It's clean. It's a nice environment. As I've gotten older, these things mean more to me. I have this happen a lot where I go. There's a Jersey Mike's. I go, this is a heavily concentrated African American population. The places I go, you kind of get out of that, like the University of Athens. That's not why I go there. People are great around here. So I'll give you an example. And now, mind you, what I just got done telling you. I mean, I know how lucky I've been. Okay. So I'm sitting in this fucking Starbucks today, and there's a young black girl like a couple seats down from me. And I see this every time I see it, I try and do something about it. I'm not right now, Sharon. And she's sitting a couple things, young skinny girl, and she's on a computer and she's writing notes. And it looks like she's drinking a water. And I see this happen at this Jersey Mike's. I don't eat them, but Marty eats them, and I get them for him sometimes. And I'll see these, and they're always black. I mean, they just are. If they were white, I'd do the same thing, but they just happen to be black. So I'm sitting there, drinking my $9 fucking coffee, but it's worth it because of the things that I just explained. Okay. And I see she's got like a thing of water. Now, right away, these Starbucks buildings, it's teak wood, nice tile, all new shit, stainless steel. I'll bet by the time you buy the property and you build the building and you got all that bullshit in there that's commercially approved, it wouldn't surprise me a bit that you got $3.5 million in a Starbucks store, even in a rural location like the one that I go to. And I think that's super fucking cool of them. Now, Starbucks has changed their rules a little bit, and they don't want a bunch of homeless people in there that aren't buying anything. Well, I mean, I don't think that applies everywhere, but that's what their new ruling's been. Well, in that community where I go, where there's a high African American population, I'm sure it's mostly black people that work there, and they're probably lenient on that because you know how it goes. They know what the score is, and if they're not busy and they're not causing a problem, and they just want to get a water, you're welcome to come in here. And I'm guessing this could be wrong too. Use their internet. So she's setting a couple things down to me, and I don't have any problem like approaching people about anything. And it looks like a water, and she's like studying, taking her notes, and maybe she's taking college classes. And I said, "Excuse me," I said, "Is that water you're drinking?" And she says, "Yeah." I said, "Well, let me buy you a drink, something good, drink, something to eat, something like that." I said, "Don't feel like this is a charity mission, but I've been lucky on certain things in my life, and with all the things they got in the menu, I'm sure at your age." You'd like a caffeine thing or a sandwich? She said, "Yeah, I would like a drink." So we go up to the thing, and I said, "Get her whatever she wants." I said, "Get something to eat too." And she gets a $9 chai, some fucking thing. And I said, "Well, get something to eat." She said, "No, I'm not hungry." She said, "Thank you very much. I appreciate it." So I sat down. I was like reading some science things, and I thought, I bought her a gift card too, $30 gift card. She just could not believe it. Real quiet, wasn't much dialogue, but it isn't like, it's just like, believe me, man, I know what rock bottom's like. And I'm not saying she was rock bottom, but she obviously didn't have a lot of discretionary cash. And what young 20-year-old kid wouldn't like to have a Starbucks drink as opposed to a glass of water? So it was two things. She got a drink that she liked, and Starbucks was kind of covered with a paying customer. So the whole thing was good. And so what? I mean, what's fucking $40? It's fucking nothing. You know, I think it's nothing. I mean, I don't really have expensive taste. I do eat out a lot. That's about it. Like this is kind of like a barn dominium, really. Furniture, that kind of shit. I don't care. Like I got my rug in front of my door. I got it out of one of those banks Marty bought. I don't give a fuck. Polished concrete floors. I mean, I do like nice wood ceilings and good shelves and books, but that's about it. I mean, and this money that I'm getting, it's not going to change my life. Once I was pretty good financially anyway, so my lifestyle wasn't going to change whether I won or whether I lost. But it's not going to change my life at all. But it was a principal deal. See, for some reason, I don't like drive-throughs. That's another fucking weird thing. I don't like going through drive-throughs. It's weird, isn't it? I don't know why. I don't give a shit if the line's a fucking 100 yards long. I got a theory on that, and that is, I tell you that I require about 15 minutes of socialization during a day. Maybe that's it. And it's not the same getting a coffee handed to you that it is striking up a conversation with someone in line, or why they take my order in person. I think a lot of people do things like that. Oh, that bed frame? Yeah, actually, I don't really like that bed, to tell you the truth. I'm really done with antiques. But that's a rosewood bed, by the way. I mean, I don't care about stuff like that. It just happened. I moved it down here. But I would live in a garage, no problem. I was thinking today, man, I think, I think it'd be cool. I wish they'd make like mobile homes, like better quality for people, like a stainless steel mobile home. I wouldn't have any problem with that. Oh, did they? Oh, I don't doubt that. Yeah, well, that's been across the board. Now, where you get into trouble with that is it ends up being homeless people in that particular area. The majority of them are African Americans. So that's how those things get going. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it's, you're kind of top on the list as an African American on getting attention nowadays. Media coverage, Black Lives Matter. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this stuff, but then you look at just a poor old white unemployed guy. He's the one that's got a fucking problem. And God forbid if you're a Native American. I mean, you can fuck with these people all day long and nobody does shit. It's the fucking truth. I say that at this fucking Tractor Supply I go to all the time. Now, I don't know. I don't really check into this stuff too much, but they're supposedly like woke, I guess. And the fucking parking there is impossible. I tell them all the time. The manager says, is there anything I can do for you? It's like, hey, you can change this fucking parking. I says, how many goddamn retards do you think are going to show up at once? You got 5 fucking handicapped parking lots out there. Spaces are right up front. Then you got 4 for fucking military veterans. And a white working guy that isn't on any kind of assistant has to park in bumfucked Egypt. Yeah, that's what you could do. You could give somebody like me, when he comes in the off hours, a place to park where I didn't need to walk a fucking mile. Could you pass that along? I swear to God, man, I get fucking sick of it. Fuck you. It's fucking like that there. Fucking piss me off. How about that? I mean, it's fucking nuts. You want to drop kick me in the ass instead of a fucking survey? It's not that far off. What do I gotta fucking have him missing legs or something? I'm not kidding you. That fucking Tractor Supply. And they got this fucking angled lot. I mean, it looks like a fucking dry ski slope. So, I load up that corn, all that bullshit, and about half the time it falls off because it's bumpy, it's slanted, and I got to park down at the bottom of this fucking pit. So half the time they fall off the thing, I'm planning on it. I'm not fucking shitting you. I've stacked them every fucking way you can think of. Sideways, vertically, fucking crisscross. They say, would you like some help? It's like, yeah, I'd like some help about fucking halfway when they fall off because of this stupid parking lot. Keep an eye out for me, will you? I'll need help halfway. Oh, you're crocheting? Oh, good for you. Oh, they do? Oh, crocheting, huh? Yeah, it's old Daisy sleeping. Yeah, but they kind of piss me off about that. These Starbucks, I'll tell you, man, I give them credit, man. I read this a long time ago. Get one of their, they can yank somebody out of the worst poverty-stricken neighborhood in the world. And within a week, they have great etiquette, manners. I mean, it's fucking impressive, man. You go into one of these fast food like McDonald's or something. Holy goddamn Christ! But these Starbucks pull it off. I don't know what the spiel is or how they keep motivated. And you go into Starbucks, they're not fucking around on their phones. They're in there wiping around something down. There's not a half inch of dust on the plastic fucking blueberry muffin holder. I mean, really. Which is why it's fucking $9 more than a coffee 3 times as big. It's some fucking scamming Indian BP. Oh, crochets? Yeah. Yeah, people say, oh, yeah, it's fucking racist. Well, I'll tell you this. As a private detective and as an individual, anytime I've crossed paths with these fucking Indians, man, they've been scammers. So how is that racist? I'm batting a fucking 1,000. It's always been some fucking. Now, are there Indians out there that aren't fucking thieves and con artists? Yeah. The problem is I haven't met any of them. So until then, I'm going to stick to my opinion. Yeah, straight. They must be. Yeah. I don't get it. It's unbelievable. Oh, great gifts. What do you even fucking do with one of those? What do you put coffee on them or something? I don't even know what you do with crochet. What do you do? Like hang it in a fucking window? I don't know. I never had one. Like grab hot pizzas out of the oven. I mean, is it kind of? I don't know what it is really. Is it like that stuff you make like mitts out of to take hot stuff out of the oven? Oh, you got to be kidding! Crochet bathing suits? Really? Isn't it like yarn or something? I'm not even really sure what it is. I thought it was like needlepoint. Huh. Oh, a dish? What do you do with it? Like put hot dish on it? Crochet bathing suit. Oh, God. Hey, don't mention that to these women on TikTok. They'll be wearing those fucking things. I'll tell you, some of those women on TikTok, man. Oh, scrub. Oh, okay. I mean, these older women dancing with their, cute teenage daughters has got to stop. There needs to be legislation on this. They just look so fucking stupid. I mean, there's a point to where you get where it just reaches cringe stage. Like Frankie Valli, Bobby Vinton. I get them mixed up. Oh, really? I'll check it out. I get a kick out of why. I was watching some TikToks the other night in bed. These young girls are dancing to that old Mac Morris song. Came out like 15, 20 years ago. They're cute. They're just like, it shows you how social media influences young kids. It's cute seeing these young kids. So like they're growing up and thinking this is cool, and they're really not that good at it, and they're having a good time. Yeah, say stop it. Yeah. No, but I mean, I don't know whether is that just like a runaway ego with some people. I don't know what it is. I'll tell you this though, Stephanie. If this could offer a ray of hope for you, there is a famous strip club in Atlanta where it's all women your age at strip, and it's busy as hell. Luckily, I can't tell you where it's at. But you learn things the hard way sometimes. I know a guy that was running a Deja Vu, a strip club in Ypsilanti when I was going to college. Like a peep show, stripper shit, no alcohol, totally nude. And then they had the gift shop, and they used to have a whole section of fat women, porn. And you go by there, you look at them. There's a gay section, the guy with the Fu Manchus and the fucking leather pants, then the fat girl section, and then the straights, and then all this other shit. Porn stores, right? And I'm thinking, my God, who in the hell is watching this shit? As it turns out, you ready for this? You know who's renting the fat girls' dirty movies? This you probably know this already. Bachelor parties. Bachelor parties. I'm not saying there aren't guys getting off to it that don't go to bachelor parties, but he said the majority of the rentals were bachelor parties. Get drunk, turn those on. Oh, cotton twine. Oh, you wash dishes. Oh, no kidding. Oh, body scrub. Oh, invigorating body scrub. Huh. Does it have a stick on it? I got an idea that I won't be getting too many of those. That's, of course, until Stephanie visits. Stephanie, don't worry. I've already got my order in for some rupees. You probably won't even know you did it. Oh, it washes dishes. So that is all crocheting for those things that you wash dishes with? That's interesting. I never, you think I would have found this out along the way? Huh. That's crazy. Yeah, right up here. I'm considerate, Stephanie. You got to give me that. Be giving body scrubs with my new crochet pad and not even know you did it. Oh, hanging plant baskets. Huh. Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry. Yeah, Stephanie and I at this age, we've quit talking about drugs for recreation. It's our only hope for happiness. Mm-hmm. Our ideal date is not even remember we had one. In betting who's going to wake up first. Oh, anything pretty much. Oh, okay. Yeah, because I never heard of the soap thing. I mean, if it's all the same, yeah, I guess it can. Somebody mentioned bathing suits. Now you can scrub a pot with it and hang a plant. I guess you're right. Oh, I'm definitely going to do it. Oh, absolutely. No, no. Well, I've had a hard time talking into. There's nephews and nieces out there. That's the only reason she wouldn't do it. Yeah. God forbid that. We don't want to break that the auntie mold. We don't want to let those kids know that Auntie Stephanie is like as an adult outside of their lives. Hey, speaking of that, hey Cindy, you'll know this. Is that Deja Vu still going in Ypsilanti? Yeah, why not? That's what I said. It's that facade, Oh, we're gonna do a live. Better believe we are. We're gonna go on OnlyFans. I've tried talking Stephanie into OnlyFans. She doesn't believe me that there'd be anybody on there sexually attracted to her. There would too. I mean, don't sell yourself short, Stephanie. I mean, there's people on there with missing limbs and one eye and all sorts of shit that people are jacking off to. So don't sell yourself short. Just because you haven't met anybody that's into old women doesn't mean there isn't somebody out there looking. See, the problem is there's no place in this culture where you can meet them. They're all sitting at home watching TV and shit. It's offered a new venue. Close. Oh, keep my hands busy? Oh, okay. Well, that's good of you to do. Nothing wrong with a good hobby. Yeah, I feel sorry for him, yeah. Daisy Sonsies. I'm going to give her a haircut tomorrow. Yeah, it's interesting, Crochet. You always been like doing stuff like that, Cindy, your whole life? Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, I like Ford Lake. Yeah, I've been on Ford Lake quite a bit. I almost bought a place there a long time ago. I thought the view was just killer. I did some PI cases out there. I forget what it was, witnesses or something. What do they call those places on the lake that, where you can go up the stairs and you can see like the water on both sides? What's the name of that place? Something Cove? No, absolutely right, Terry. That's what I've been trying to tell Stephanie. OnlyFans. Yeah, absolutely right. No, I agree. Fetishes. Stephanie sells herself short. Yeah. Stephanie, look at this way. You could be a greeter at Walmart for $14 an hour, or you could be into this older woman fetish bullshit for $400 an hour. Oh, I bet you can. That's a good point. I think Stephanie gets all her ham, though. I think all her ham's already prepared. Stephanie, you're not cooking any hams at home, are you? No, she could do it. I got confidence in her. Oh, no kidding, Sin. That's interesting. Huh. Yeah, it's kind of dead. They say, I know a guy, a real successful businessman, that's been going to strip clubs is like every day of the week his whole life, and he's like 73. And he said that business is damn near dead. And he's got a lot of money, and if there's a good one, he'll fly there and spend a week. And basically, that's what it's boiling down to now. It's just there's not, you know, 8 good ones on Michigan Avenue anymore. Hey, Cindy, how about that hillbilly bar there? That one that's on the Service Drive in Belleville. It was a bunch of things over the years. Oh, good for you. The Cliffs, yeah. Now, are those Cliffs? How have they done value wise, Cindy? What's a good unit cost? I remember one time looking at them, and they were like, I want to think 65 grand, which seems like a lot at the time. Those things got to be like 350 or something now, aren't they? It's a beautiful setup as far as living in a place like that and looking out the window. The Cliffs, yeah, you're right, yeah. I spent a ton of time around Ypsilanti. Went to school there, lived there. I still like Ypsilanti. It looks like Cross Street's pretty much dead now. Just as you make that one-way turn going up through campus where the old Tower Inn used to be near the water tower. It was half dead when I was there, and that was in the 70s. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, for that area, and I took a lot of photographs of muskrats and swans off that park that you can walk way out on that Ford Lake. Those like bridges. I did a lot of winter photography there too. You should do it, Stephanie. You should do it. They won't send out notices though for your channel. I can tell you that. Yeah, Cliffs. Hey, Cindy, would you say Ypsilanti is like thriving, like doing well or not? Oh yeah, we're the old paper company. They had some pretty good graffiti in there. I can remember back in the '60s when my sister was going there, when they would dump that dye from the paper in the Huron River there. It'd be different colors, no bullshit. I remember that as a 14 and 15-year-old. Yeah, no kidding. I lived in some of those apartments back there. Not those, because they weren't there then. The ones up a little north. Oh, okay. Oh, Diamondback is amazing. Seriously. You got to give them A plus for hanging in there. How about that Tin Lizzie's? Remember that? That was a female attorney that owned that place. Yeah, Diamondback. Huh. It's 42 here, so it's getting a little cold here tonight. Oh, yeah. That place was half dead when I was there. I see they had a drag bar that was selling hamburgers there. The place that used to be the Tower Inn, they went out of business too. God knows what those people lost. I don't know how you can be like in your 40s and 50s and have like your life savings tied up into a restaurant and then it goes tits up. I mean, how do you pay rent and like start over? Oh, okay, good for you. Oh, good. Yeah, I like the area. I think it's great. Do you go to Captain Nemo's subs anymore? Either one, the Romulus or Belleville one? I started going there in the early '70s. The founder of that place died of gastric bypass surgery. Yeah, did you know Greg French, the guy that owns Aubrey's? He's dead now, but his wife's still running it. And does that place still have those old cars across the street, like Kitty Corner on the other side of the tracks? The side track, that was the name of that. Yeah. Oh, Depotron is hopping. Well, the Frenches are responsible for all that. He did a hell of a good job with that. I think he died of cancer. And how about that Frog Island? That Frog Island, they have that festival there in the summer. Huh. Oh, good. Huh. Yeah, I spent a lot of time there. Diamondback, huh? All right, you have a good night, Stampo. You're going to bed early tonight. Going to clock at 8 o'clock and you're tired? Oh, okay. It's crazy what they're getting for some of these old cars. These old Barracudas and Camaros and stuff. Drifter, I don't know if you paid too much attention to mixed gas likes these cars too. But these Teslas are, I don't know whether it's just a media smashing because they hate Elon Musk, but boy, these things are not doing too well in the median. Oh, they wore you out. Okay. Well, have a good night's sleep. Yeah, I'm going to look that up. Oh, no kidding. Really? Good for them. I noticed some medicinal marijuana things down here that aren't open yet. So I don't know whether that's pending or what. Yeah, Hudson Muse, that's still there. That's unbelievable. That was there when I was going to school. Wow. Huh. How about that drive-in up there off Holmes Road with the big chicken? You could drive in. It's like an old AMW. They got the big plastic chicken. Oh, it's all druggies. Interesting. You know where I'm talking about? That drive-in. Got the big plastic chicken. I forget the name of it. It's chicken something, I think. Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah, Marty's got one. Doesn't even drive it anymore. But if every day I wake up, there's some article about a Tesla on, what a piece of junk it is. Getting stuck in the snow, panels falling off, quitting for no reason, won't come out of park. I mean, that just goes to show you, if you've got the right money and the right marketing, I mean, that has to be the ugliest fucking vehicle in the history of automobiles. It looks like something they made out of fucking melted down tin cans in a work release program in Czechoslovakia. This is square, weird looking fucking thing. Excuse me. I mean, they're not cool looking at all. They're hard to see out of too. It does all this bullshit, but they need to get a fucking 2007 Honda Ridgeline. My car's so old I can actually leave the lights on accidentally. And at nighttime, at least twice a week, I get people flashing their lights because I didn't turn them on. I turned them off. I didn't turn them on. It's one or the other. I forget to turn them on or I forget to turn them off. Welcome to getting older. I have no idiot light. Nothing blinks and bells and chimes to let me know. The one that fucks me the most is when I have them on in the daytime for some unknown reason. Because you can't really see them. Not the parking lights. They always look like they're on, even if they're off. That's how it gets me. I'm going to have to get a note card or something with a big felt pen. Stick it near the handle where I get out. It's coming to that. Yeah, chick something. Yeah. Oh, it's no kidding. Oh, wow. Oh, good for you, Crunchy Munch. Oh, no kidding. Huh. Well, tomorrow I'm going to go to Augusta and buying some weights off a guy. Bought some more chicken for the vultures. Yeah, Tacomas are nice. They get shitty gas mileage, though. The trucks. Yeah, I saw that. Thank you. I will do. Yeah, I'll give it a try. Like, I've had a good couple of days, but you never know. Now, I could eat the same shit today that I had when I had a bad day and just feel miserable. I don't know what the hell it is. Today was pretty good. And I've had a couple coffees in a row, no problem. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. No, yeah, you're right about that. Nothing to lose. Story of my life. To lose a goddamn 24/7 stomach ache. I do have something to lose. That's why I'm going to try it. I did get that trap bar, yeah. Turns out it was way better than I thought. This guy was kind of a cool guy. He owns a dental clinic with 3 oral surgeons, 4 dentists, 5 hygienists. And he's just a hygienist. Not that, that means there's something wrong with him, but he owns the whole damn place. Lived in a kick-ass place, big weightlifter himself. Yeah, it's a kick. It's one of those heavy-duty, the trap bar weighs 45 pounds. Yeah, it's a good one. I bought one of those balls you can throw too. Tomorrow I'm buying 4 45-pound weights, a 120-pound dumbbell, and a 100-pound dumbbell. I'm hoping to use the 100-pound one when I put in the burlap sack when I dispose of Stephanie's body. Daisy's hit me up for attention. And this guy, Augusta, the 45-pound plates are not in that great a shape, but I don't really care because mine are outside anyway. Yeah, they'll put them to good use. You know, I haven't seen her in person. I may have to use the 120-pound. Hey, girl. Well, you guys, I think I'm going to sign off. I'm going to go to bed. I want to try and get up at a decent hour tomorrow. So I appreciate you guys coming on tonight. Thank you. Crunch and Munch, thanks for the dine information. Appreciate it. Terry, you have a good night. Cindy, good to see you. I'll be up there this summer. Maybe we can get a lunch or something like that. I haven't been on Ipsy's campus in a while. Frisky, you nighty night. These are moms. Good having you on. James, hang in there. I know, you're going to get a treat. Don't worry. Tell you, this is the most demanding dog ever. You're going to get a treat. Don't you worry. You're going to get a treat, honey. She'll drive you fucking crazy until you give her one. You're going to get one, hon. Get you a CPAP, too. Yeah, good night, Drifter. Hope you didn't miss anybody. Sharon, you're still out there. Me's her mom. You have a good night, too. Michelle, I don't know what she's doing. She might have passed out. She's charting a new course in life. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. Thanks a lot. All right, well, good night, you guys. I'll talk to you later this week. We'll party. Take care. I'm getting you one. Don't worry. I know. I'm coming. All right, good night. You want a treat?